about that?
Maps or new sites in general?
Yeah, if it's not already on the agenda.
New sites is already on the agenda,
Great.
along with current needs for work groups as they reorganize around raid preparation, and a sanitation plan. So, since I'm done, other agenda items.
I feel like I have something, but I think based on most things, it can wait till next week. Okay.
I'll talk real quick, actually. The 23rd in Alder House, so can we just put that on the agenda?
I can put that on the agenda.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and put that on.
Because I'd like to start with raid preparation.
Yeah.
Seems like the most dire. Okay, the subject is raid preparation. We all know we're being raided. We're going to be raided tomorrow. The administration may decide to count the 11 o'clock announcement of, by the way, we're pursuing this as the start of their clock. They may decide that when they handed us the first paper is the start of the clock. That would be something for lawyers to argue about, but all I can say is that the earliest we could expect to see anything happen is 11 o'clock Friday morning.
Do we have any reason to, they said they're going to push the button at that time, or are you simply saying that then or any time thereafter we can expect?
Legally, we
yes.
cannot possibly expect to see anything before then, because we could take them right to court.
I understand. My question is, do we have any reason to think that they will send the police in or take some action right at that point? Or soon there? Okay.
But we do have reason to believe that they might choose to wait until the evening when their campus is not full of kids that pay to go there.
Yeah, I was going to say on that note, really, I think where it will fall down to is the police will get the order like when and it falls upon the police to actually decide the tactics and strategy in which they actually do it. If it was me, it all depends on how we respond, but if I see a large group of people show up that are all energized and energetic, I'm going to sit around and wait for them to get tired, and then I'm going to come in and handle it. So, I mean, that's more than likely what we expect, and that's what we've seen all across the country. So,
my question then is for those of us that are not campers, is the best thing that we can do to come and be present at SCCC tomorrow in order just to have numbers, or because the question I keep getting is, what can they do to help? And then the second piece is there are people that are interested in hosting campers in their homes. So if someone decides to protest, for lack of a better phrase, at this time, at this point, because other cities, they've had legal agreements, so we simply don't have time for that. Is it something where someone could just walk up to someone and say, hey, would you like to punch your tin in my backyard? Would that be something that's doable?
I wish legal were here.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your last question.
My last question is, say, like for example, I have a fairly large backyard. It could accommodate 5 to 7 tents. If I wasn't busy this weekend, I'd be more than happy to have a couple people move their tents in my backyard. I have neighbors that have large backyards. So the question would be, most people I know are not interested in getting arrested, but how else can people help besides just showing up and being witnesses? And is that something that's been discussed already by Tactical?
There has been some discussion about what to do with campers, of course. Some people who are in the organization will be hosting volunteers in their homes. Putting campers in your backyard is a great idea if you feel comfortable with the campers you're inviting.
Okay, so that's what I can tell people. Okay.
That was next.
I just observe informationally that I tend to agree with you, John, that mainly we've seen them wait until the crowd leaves, but not always. In the first wave of arrests, October 4th, we stood around on Tuesday night. They had announced that they were coming. We waited for them to wait for everybody to leave. And And then it didn't happen. And they came at 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day when there were hundreds of people and media around and arrested a bunch of us then. So it can happen at any time.
I do vividly remember that, and I think that was more of, in that particular case, you're right, we all came and we waited around, we stayed up all night, and some of us, and, by that time in the afternoon, everyone was exhausted,
Maybe.
so.
Yeah, there's no, the last few ones have happened at 4 to 6. And
Okay, is there anything that anyone wants to add to the discussion about what their group is doing to prepare for the raid?
I can speak on behalf of the media.
Okay.
We're trying to formulate a good network of people who are at home and online on Facebook, Twitter, and other may have other contacts to media outlets, and then people on the ground who are live streaming or tweeting and giving updates on things, and that would be we have a good sort of our online presence and media presence reflects having a good pulse check on the situation. So we should have a good team of people to allow us to do that, both for the event and then also for event Monday.
We have the offer of the use of a van. Have we considered putting together an off-site media hub?
No,
or
but
something?
Long term, yes, but we just don't have the resources right now to make that happen necessarily. But I think if we have a van, then I can start looking at what it would take to make that worthwhile.
Well, currently the use of the van is only for the raid. We can talk more later.
Okay, so with the information work group, should we tell people in order to support to come out here tomorrow at 11? And then second, whenever Tactical would like to tell information work group or anybody where campers should go, we would appreciate that too. But in the meantime, we could, should I just say be here at SECC to report campers at 11 o'clock?
11 might honestly be a bit early. I think that watch the Twitter feed and Facebook would be the thing to tell them.
Okay.
Because the call is going to go out when cops start massing, and they never come in,
Media will show up too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They
can
always take a long time.
But just one more thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, keep in mind, the Twitter feed isn't necessarily a reliable source of information anymore. They blocked it when they raided LA.
That's true.
And then they blocked the LA raid that they set up to, bypass the original block. So.
Right.
So maybe with that.
Definitely not.
Hold on.
Sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Nate was on staff next, and you.
It's like the 6th or 7th tool that we use to network and get get things out there. The other thing, one more thing, which is like the text messaging service. We're just now, the ICT team is getting in touch with him and getting meetings with him. He's been really good about getting things that have been passed on to him out on the text messaging service. But we're trying to see if there's maybe an alternative service that allows us to, because a lot of those services are really expensive. Like my friend works for a company called Tango, started that up. It's a tech startup doing pretty much that for businesses, but also doing a little bit of media campaigns, and it's not cheap. So we're trying to look into some options there, maybe some alternatives. Otherwise, hopefully we can work with this guy and see what that service is. There's been rumors about it being actually maybe as a trial or something, but that service being shut down on Friday. It's like the worst timing ever, but that's another tool that we're trying to figure out how to use effectively.
Okay. So again, back to the information work group itself. I mean, yes, we can follow Twitter feed. Yes, we can follow the Occupy Style group page. There are some people that are already, at the Facebook group we have, it's only closed just because we don't want any trolls on there. But I believe that Aliana and Carson are also already members of that group, and maybe what I should do is talk to you, find out who else in media would be a good contact, and then you guys can just post directly to our page. So, Aliana's in DC, but we have the same arrangement with legal where they post directly to our page if something's up, and then we're able to get out to people what's actually accurate. Okay.
A couple things. Another thing that can affect the timing in terms of getting people to come down. I don't know, if I had 500 people, I wouldn't tell them all to come at noon on Friday or around then. Because there is also this teach-in thing that we just approved. And even though I'm not convinced that the police are going to pay any attention to it, they might. And that could delay them for up to 24 hours from taking an action. I think my guess would be that they're going to be anxious to get it cleared out by Sunday night. If there were people, the two things I can think of, if there were 500 people sitting in a room saying, what can we do? I'd say set up shifts to try to have a presence there longer time. But the other one, because Twitter has been taken down, would be to try to set up an old-fashioned phone tree with anybody we know, so that telephone calls could be made quickly when stuff comes up. We used to have to do that before we had computers and stuff, and that's also
We were
but to
pretty
try
cool.
to try to have a weekend-long presence, if our goal was to have a presence, unfortunately, it could happen at any time.